This is my video review on my 1999 Toyota Progres 300 NC. This is a little Japanese market only executive class sedan based on the Lexus IS/Toyota Altezza. It's got some cool features, so I'm going to get into that with this video. So this funny little car shares its underpinnings with the Toyota Altezza or the Lexus IS300. It's rear wheel drive, front engine, features a 4-speed automatic with 4 different versions of the JZ engine. You either have it in a 1JZ or 2JZ, and either the GE electronic injection versions or the FSE direct injection versions. The FSE versions coming after 2002 when they stopped producing the GE. So this car continued to be made up until 2007 when it was discontinued, and the replacement for this I believe was the Toyota Sai, which is that bloody another strange hybrid version of the Prius, sort of like a Prius sedan I guess you could say. It's probably a car you've never ever heard of before unless you live in Japan or New Zealand or Australia, where we got a couple of them imported in. I believe there was a total of about 92 imported into New Zealand, and this is one of the last ones that came in. I snatched it up off WS Imports up in Nelson, and I'm the first New Zealand owner of it. Had it for about 6 months, but time to move on to other projects, so I figured I'd make a nice little review on this cool car before I pass it on. The styling on this car is quite interesting, with the split headlights, round ones in the centre and then your square ones on the outside. It does remind me quite a bit like the W210 series Mercedes E-Class from the late 90s, so maybe that's what Toyota was going for when they designed this thing. Another thing I didn't expect this to have, which I'll show you down here by the bumper, is radar guided cruise control. So next to the fog light, that little camera there, that's the sensor for the radar, so you can actually set the distance at which the car will cruise and it'll scan ahead of it. If there's a car in front, it'll warn you or slow down or speed up as the car takes off. If you look on the steering column, it's just got your pretty standard Toyota cruise control switch for that time period as well. Then if you look up there at the bottom of the gauge cluster on the bezel, that's just your switch to change your cruise distance. There's 3 different modes, 3 different distances you can have the car cruise at. Still works quite well for the age, just not in the rain. Rain must get on the sensor and bloody bugger it up. So having a look at the interior of this thing, this has some cool features, such as a telescoping steering wheel. When you put the keys in the ignition, it'll automatically tilt down forward and come up to you. There's also a knob on the side to adjust it, one of those electronically adjusted ones, which is always nice. If you look down here, just got a wood grain gear shift knob, it's nice. Wood grain bezel around the aircon and radio controls. There's no handbrake in this one, it's a foot operated parking brake. Just having a look at your gauge cluster there, it's like an indigo purple backlight to it, which is quite nice. And you got all your warning lamps down the bottom. It's a pretty nice layout to that thing. Another feature this has, folding mirrors. So there's a little switch down there to fold them in, fold them out. Good for parking or when you're parking on the side of the road so a cyclist doesn't knock your bloody mirrors off. You got those 2 switches down there. I don't think they're factory, but one of them controls the fog lights so they tilt up and down when you park. So if you're sitting at the lights, your fog lights will tilt down and then come back up when you take off. And the other one's just a toggle switch for the front and rear park poles. Another thing you've got there is an air purifier. That is a factory option. And the air purifier just sits on the back of the parcel tray. And you've got auto, low, high settings. I think it's meant to act like a pollen filter or like an ion filter in your newer cars. And yeah, electronic buttons for your trunk release and your fuel flap. Just another little storage hole there. And you've got memory seats as well. Don't know how to get them to work in this car. I had them in 2 of my other cars. I didn't know how to get them to work in that either, to be fair. Dashboard material's real nice and soft as well. Doesn't seem to crack like in some of your early 2000s Toyotas. Now that big screen in the centre of the dashboard, which flips up and goes back down at the hit of a switch, that is part of the Toyota DVD voice navigation system. So back in Japan, that's where you'd have your GPS, and I think there's a couple other features in there which I'm not too sure about. It doesn't work in this car unfortunately, as when I first got it the bezel was all cracked and broken, so I replaced it with this one from a newer model, but the computer in it is different from the newer model, so it won't actually come up with anything. It still could be useful to run like a reverse camera or something else from it. Mine's also got the gold clock. Always love to see an analog clock in some of these executive class cars. It's a nice feature. Mine's got the gold background. When I first got the car, it had the silver background one on the broken one, but scooped this one up and had the gold one. So gold one's actually quite rare apparently. It's nice. If we look inside, there's more wood grain trim. Love that big line that runs along the front, and the one that runs around like your heater controls and your radio. Massive fan of wood grain in any car. I know a lot of people when they get them, they either black them out or they replace it with that carbon fibre and stuff, but nah, always wood grain in the books for me, mate. That's one other annoying little thing about this car is the size of the radio itself. It's not a single din, not a double din. It's like this weird size that was Toyota specific to these models, so you can't really put anything in there. So I'm just running a Harmony Blue under-seat sub with Bluetooth for the sound system. Bit annoying. I would have liked to have put like a single din, like a old Kenwood or something in there, but not really an option, unfortunately. Here you've got a pop-out cup holder. That's cool. It's like a spring-loaded one. And then you've got two more cup holders in the centre console, which slides back and lifts up. Plenty of room in that. Yeah, leather seats. Black leather was quite a rare option for these cars. Usually when you see them, they've either got the beige cloth interior or grey seats or cream leather. So getting one with the black interior was quite nice. Just regular old glove box. Not really soft close or anything like that. There's another thing in the interior I get asked about quite a bit, what this little remote thing is. So that's also part of the DVD voice navigation system. If it did work, that would be the remote to control it, so you can scroll across the screen on the GPS and it's like home button and other things. So that just clamps down into the centre console. On the models which didn't have the voice navigation system, I think there's just like a little pen holder or something there. But yeah, cool wee feature, certainly interesting, funny looking thing. Yeah, shame the whole system doesn't work anymore, but it's not really useful in New Zealand anyway. I think the New Zealand map discs you could get for go for like $1,000 on eBay, and well, I'm not spending $1,000 just to get a GPS. So now we're in the back seats. Not too much going on in here. There's just another look at the front layout. We got the same plush leather seats in the back. Those aren't seat covers, those are the factory seats. No cracks or splits or anything. Quite interesting to see for the age of the vehicle. It's just got a centre armrest which has fold out cup holders. No mini fridge or anything like that like your Celsior and Majesta do come with, or no rear seat controls. On your grab handles you do have these little hook things which I think were for businessmen who were travelling in the car and they wanted to carry their suit with them or anything like that. Ample amount of ashtrays in the back as for most of these Japanese imports. One on each side and then your main one there. Yes. Not a lot else going on in the back. It's just another look at the adjustable seat belts. It's quite cool. And that trim that continues along the back. That's something else I'll probably get questions on the video for. What are the curtains? So those aren't part of the car. They were never an option with the car. These are made by Junction Produce, so they produce a lot of VIP gear for like VIP or Bippu style builds. Very popular in Japan. It's starting to spill over into New Zealand and a lot of other countries. So these are quite nice. These are the beige version. I used to have black ones in the last car as well, but beige ones are quite nice. Contrast well with the black interior. But yeah, selling those with the car, so no point taking them off to make a separate review on them or anything. So I'll just quickly show you the floor mats in this thing. Big heavy duty thick shag carpeted ones, say Progres stamped on them, and the logo as well. If you look down here, it's also got Progres on the side of the door trims. Electric seats, if I hadn't already mentioned that, with lumbar support. I'll just give you a look at the rear carpet. So that one's way better condition. That's how the front one should look, but being the driver's side one, it's worn away quite a bit like that. So the rear one and the passenger side one in the front are about the same condition. So now if we look under the hood of this thing, we'll see we've got the 2JZ GE, so mine's the 300 NC, so it's the 3 litre one. Mine's a GE, so electronic fuel injection, not the FSE with direct injection. So if you wanted to turbocharge it or do something like this, this is the best motor for that. the FSE you can't really do anything with it from a performance standpoint. So yeah, not the turbo version unfortunately, but still got plenty of grunt in it. So if we have a look on the boot and you ignore the shit my mates have left in the car, pretty ample boot space here. Nothing much else out of the ordinary going on. You do get this nice boot mat which says Progres on it, has a nice pattern, so quite thick material, and then you've just got space saver spare wheel and your tyre kit and all that underneath. Yeah, not much else happening underneath there. So just another overview of the car, how it looks outside. The paint code for this is 6N9, which is ebony jade. So it does look black in the video and from a distance, but when you get up closer when there's sunlight on it, you can see it's like a metallic green, a dark green metallic. Quite a bit of flake in it, which is quite nice. Now the wheels, these definitely aren't the factory wheels. These ones here are Enki AME Charlin 18x9, I think they're AME Charlin AXs or AWs, so they're period correct for 2000s VIP build. Thought they were two-piece, but no, these ones are monoblocks, and that's just a look at those yellow fog lights. So not the tidiest condition unfortunately, but certainly look way better than the wheels it came on. Had these shitty things which had been powder coated black. That was all starting to peel. So these look very nice. Factory wheels, I believe there's only one option, the 16-inch one. Yeah, these 18s fell out the guards way better. It's also sitting on teen lowering springs as well, so factory ride height is quite a bit higher than that. So that just about wraps things up for this little review of the Toyota Progres. So yeah, just short, sweet review just of the different features of this car. But thanks for watching. There'll certainly be more content like this coming out now they've got more free time. Yeah, thanks for watching and stay tuned.